Hi, first grade writers. Get pumped, get excited. We are about to start a new writing unit. Unit 4 in our Units of Study program is from scenes to series. I think this is a super fun and cool unit because you get to write fiction. Throughout this unit, you're going to work on character development. You're going to come up with stories and get to be creative. Today's lesson is going to focus on some early tips and mini lessons for writing fiction. These early lessons are just going to move us out of our last unit, writing reviews and opinion writing, and get us back into the fiction world. Get ready, this is fun. So friends, as you're listening to this video and over the next few days and you begin thinking about writing fiction and realistic fiction, I want you to also think about some of the series of books you might have read. Characters like Judy Moody, or Junie B. Jones, or the Stink series. Think about how these authors have developed the characters in them, because our goal by the end of this writing unit is going to be to make a series of your own. Are you up for that challenge? Let's get started with our first mini lesson for Unit 4. Today, we're going to think as fiction writers. There are some things that fiction writers always do. Fiction writers make up pretend characters. Fiction writers give their characters names. Fiction writers imagine adventures that their characters may do. Like in other units, fiction writers touch and tell. They plan out the writing. And then finally, fiction writers sketch and write. Are you ready to try some of this fiction writing? Throughout my writing today, I will use this anchor chart, Fiction Writers, to help me think about the steps that fiction writers use when they begin planning their writing. You will find this fiction writing anchor chart in our lesson plans for the week. Use this as a tool to help you plan. All right, here goes. Let's follow the steps and see if I can come up with my first fiction story. All right, I'm going to make up pretend characters. Okay, in my brain, I've thought of a character. I've thought of a boy named Tommy. I've already gone ahead and I've given the character a name. My character is a boy. His name is Tommy. Oh, now it's time to bring in some creativity. Imagine the adventures Tommy or your character could get into. All right. Tommy could go to the beach. Tommy could go to the boardwalk. Tommy could be walking to the park. Tommy could be walking in the forest. Oh, I like that. Tommy is going to be walking into the forest. I have my pretend character. I named him Tommy. He's walking in the forest. Ooh, what adventure could happen while he's out there? I need to touch and tell. There's a boy named Tommy. He begins taking a walk. Oh, I've got it. He hears a noise coming from a bush as he's walking. It sounds like a hiss. Oh, he decides to crouch and look. As he leaned over, he realizes it's a snake. Tommy does not like snakes. Tommy is afraid. He screams and he gets out of here. All right. So let's see if I followed my steps so far. I made up my pretend character, Tommy and now a snake. Gave the character a name, Tommy. I imagined different adventures he could go on and I picked that he went for a walk. I touched and I told my story to make my plan. Now it's time for me to sketch and write. Let's see how this works out. Okay, writers, remember as we've done throughout the units of study, in all the different units, we write across the pages. Here's my story about Tommy. Let's see how I did. I've sketched my pictures. There's Tommy walking along. He hears a hiss, slither. There he is, crouching by the bush. He looks a little scared. Finally, you can see the panic on his face, and it appears as if he's running away. Let's read the words and see if they match the pictures. Tommy heard a noise. Hiss, hiss, slither. What is that, he thought. Page 2. He crouched by the bush. Tommy felt afraid. Page 3. I'm afraid of snakes, he screamed. Get me out of here, he thought. Tommy raced home. Okay, writers, now it is your turn. Can you think of a character? Give your character a name. Think up some adventures that your character may go on. Plan, touch and tell, sketch, and finally write. Be creative. We can't wait to see what you come up with. Hi, writers. I hope you did well on your first try of fiction writing. Today, we're going to practice a little more. You're going to notice the exact same steps that we worked on in lesson 1, how to write fiction, but we're going to add a little twist to it. Today, our focus is going to be realistic fiction. Realistic fiction is stories that could happen. They could be characters that really might exist. The stories take place in a place that might really exist, and the adventures might be real things that could happen. You're making the stories up, they're creative, but they're realistic in that they could happen. So today, our focus is how to write a realistic fiction book. Just like in lesson 1, we're first going to think of a pretend character. Okay, I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to think of my pretend character. Okay, I'm thinking of a girl and her dog. My next step, I'm going to give the character a name. All right, I've got it. My character's name is Carrie, that's the girl, and the dog's name is Bolt. Imagine a place. Okay, Carrie and her dog Bolt are going to go for a walk and they're going to end up at a playground. Imagine the trouble your character gets in. Remember, lots of our stories have problems in it. This gives you, the writer, a chance to solve or fix the problem. Okay, Carrie and Bolt come upon a big giant sliding board and Carrie is really afraid of it. All right, so I thought of my characters, a girl and a dog. I gave them names, Carrie and Bolt. I imagined a place, we're taking a walk and we end up at a playground. I thought about the trouble we might run into, and that's that Carrie is super afraid of this big sliding board. Okay, now, just like in lesson 1, we're going to plan, we're going to touch and tell. Here goes my plan and touch and tell. Carrie and her dog Bolt were going for a walk. They decided to head to the park. When they arrived at the park, they noticed a big, giant sliding board. They decided to go on it. When they got to the top, Carrie was really afraid, but Bolt, the dog, was not afraid at all. She decided to let go and go down the slide. Whee! When they got to the bottom, she was not afraid at all. She said, yay, and let's do this again. There's my plan. Now it's time to sketch across the pages, and then finally, write. Let's see how I did sketching my plan, then writing. Reminder, as I said earlier, just like in other units, we write across the pages. Let's see if my writing and sketches match the plan I told on my fingers. Here we go. Page 1. One day, Carrie was taking her dog Bolt for a walk. They were headed to the park. Bolt was excited. When they arrived, they saw a big slide. When they got to the top, Carrie was scared. Bolt was not scared at all. Carrie thought she was going to fly off. Then Carrie and Bolt went down the slide. Carrie screamed. When they landed on the ground, Carrie said, yay. She and Bolt loved the slide. Looks like I followed my plan. Can you write a story in which you think of the characters, give them names, think of where the story will take place and the adventure? What kind of trouble will they get into? touch and tell, plan, sketch, and write. Ready, set, go. Hi again, writers. It's mini lesson 3. And once again, we're still growing and working on our fiction writing skills. Today, we're going to go back to the first story that we wrote. Tommy heard a noise, hiss, hiss. What is that, he thought. He crouched by the bush. Tommy felt afraid. I'm afraid of snakes, he screamed. Get me out of here, he thought. Tommy raced home. Writers, your goal and challenge as you begin to write more and more fiction and realistic fiction is to think about getting your characters out of trouble. Most fiction books have a problem, and your job as the writer is to get them out of trouble. The other goal is, how do you bring these characters to life? So, as you're writing, you're going to think about 3 things: dialogue, actions, and feelings. As you're writing fiction, you're going to again think about 3 things: dialogue, action, and feelings. Dialogue. I know most of us have talked about that in class, but I want you to think about that's the communication between characters, or the words that the characters say. Let's think about the first story. Here's an example of dialogue. I'm afraid of snakes, he screamed. They were Tommy's exact word. That's dialogue. As you're writing fiction, be sure to give your characters words that they say to themselves, or words that they communicate between characters. Goal number 2, make sure your fiction writing shows action. Tommy raced home. That is a sentence that shows action. Tommy didn't stay there. Tommy wasn't calm. Tommy raced home. And finally, fiction stories have feelings in them. For example, Tommy felt afraid. So your goal now, as you're writing fiction, is to add these things to make your fiction even juicier. Have fun trying this. Really think about today as you write the dialogue between characters, the actions your characters do, and the feelings that your characters have. Good luck and have fun writing. First graders, we hope you really enjoy this first week of our new unit. We hope you have fun writing fiction. We know you are all very creative, and we cannot wait to see the characters and troubles and ways you fix them. Remember, all the anchor charts and some examples of writing can be found right on our Power School website. Use these resources and anchor charts to help you as we start this Unit 4 fiction writing from scenes to series. Happy writing!